we're on wire, aren't we? We can't go any closer to the combination. I think they're all miles away from us.
Can't get everybody.
Any paperwork from the other end. I've got nothing with me. Idiot I am. I'm ready to go to sleep. I don't think I have, and that service is taken out. Oh, that's what I need before I start the show. Well, no, if you think we can move people forward. No, it's there.
I'm about to do it. Right, only an apology from Catherine Muir, please, Cheryl. It's on there.
So, we're about ready to start in a moment. The question I've got is whether you all feel you're too many miles away from us. We can't move our table much closer because one of our microphones is on a cable. We don't need to use that one. In that case, we'll move closer to you. That makes life easier. That's fine. So we can disconnect and you can go on this road. One coffee, huh? No. Hello. That sounds good. Yeah, there we are. Right, good. Shall we get started, folks, then? Welcome to our AGM. Thank you for staying after the service. And as we begin our meeting, we're not recording, are we, Matt? No, so I don't need to get approval for recording. That's fine. So let's pray as we begin our meeting then. Loving God, as we come before you, we come and still our hearts and our minds, and we lay before you not only our lives, but the business that is before us. Business of doing your work, your mission, the building of your kingdom and sharing your love in this place. Be with us as we meet together and as we work through our agenda. May we know your presence by your Spirit, guiding us in all we do and say. For we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. You have of the 13th of October, an ordinary church meeting, and a single item meeting on the 3rd of November, and also 9th of June.
Well, 9th of June didn't take place, if you remember.
Oh, right.
That was the one, we didn't have enough people, so I think it ought to be,
So,
an agenda went out, so I think in these minutes it ought to just be confirmed.
right, okay. We're not affirming approval of the minutes though, we're just saying the meeting didn't happen. Right, okay. So we just need to record in these minutes that the meeting of the 9th of June 2024 didn't happen because we felt we didn't have enough attendees, so we didn't do that meeting. Yep. And are people happy with the minutes of 13th of October and 3rd of November? People have seen them. Are there any corrections that people have wanted to make made to those? That doesn't sound like good English in my head. To those minutes.
The only one thing to add, and I might as well add it, the name of the auditor was Caroline Guy and not Karen. I've altered it in the file.
Thank you. So with that, are there any other corrections? So with that one correction from Anne, that the name of the auditor needs to be changed from Karen to Caroline. Yes, Karen to Caroline. Are folks happy with the 2 minutes of 13th October and 3rd of November? People please show agreement to those minutes. Thank you very much. Are there any matters arising from those 2 sets of minutes that we're not dealing with otherwise?
There are minutes for the November meeting. That was just a single item where Cheryl read out the statement from Heartland, just so as we were aware of it. So there was no vote and there were no minutes, as far as I know.
So there was no discussion on it either. It was just
I think there was discussion.
so that would have been minutes. I can't remember now. Okay.
The last church meeting, 9th of November, was just a single item which we didn't vote on, and there were no minutes.
There should be minutes of that. There should at least be minutes saying that that's what we did, surely. Right. I mean, if we had a meeting, even if that's all we did, we ought to at least minute that, surely, for the record.
The purpose of doing that now.
It's difficult, but sorry, and I'm being pedantic here, but the agenda item is approval of church meeting minutes. We can't approve minutes that don't exist.
No, but I was hoping before today to have a statement,
Right.
which could have been circulated, which could have been approved. So that has to come up next
Okay.
time.
Okay, so we're only people. We've only done the 13th of October. People are happy with those minutes. Are there any matters arising from those minutes that we're not dealing with elsewhere on the agenda? Fine. Elders' elections then. We have 3 names before us, and we have 3 places available. We've Well,
I better get the slip, come on.
well, Alison's got them over there. If you can stay seated. That's what Alison's going to do for us. So are we?
Thank you, Alison.
We have 3 names before us. You'll see there are 4 names on there, but one of our candidates who was nominated has the election. So we only have 3 eligible candidates and 3 places. So I'm just looking around. It's quite straightforward. Alison has voting slips and pens. Obviously, only members can vote. Alison has papers and pens. We had a number of people who were nominated for eldership, and we are grateful to those who were willing to stand. No, I don't generally vote. Has Cheryl got one?
No, she's off the pen.
Oh, pen. And Lee. And Matt. Has everyone who sorry? Yes, everyone who's a member who wants a piece of paper, ballot paper, got one. Sorry, I'm really not with it this morning. That's what I was trying to say. If you have voted, then please can you hand them in to Alison. You can vote for up to 3. I think you can probably do it with whatever you want, as long as it's not rude. I don't think we're that. Oh, gosh. Would you be willing to count? Thank you, Alice. I haven't asked anyone there and all the other stuff that's going on. Are you? I don't know, but I'm going to ask when she's gone. No. Right, Philip's gone. No. It's all right, Philip's gone over there now. While counting is going on, Treasurer's Finance Report. Is Helen or Sarah or mixture or quite what's going on? Oh, hang on, Matt. That's the one your dad had. If you know which one's which.
Hello? Hello? That's better.
Thank you, Matt.
All the papers went out, so the report for 2024, that's been to our independent examiner, Caroline Guy, and it's been signed off for last year with no issues. Hopefully you've all had a chance to read it in the notes that came out beforehand. just to let you know, very brief summary. Overall, our income and expenditure was roughly equal, around 200,000. As you know, our main income comes from giving, our hall hire, and you can see in the report. And our main expenditure, our ministry and mission that we give to the URC on our premises, which are obviously quite expensive to maintain in this new world with inflation and utilities and electricity bills, and salaries for our employees. Most of our funds, you might notice on the report, is held on something called restricted funds, which means they can only be used for the purposes to which they've been given. So things like grants and stuff like that. So while we've got a lot of funds, a lot of it actually is in restricted funds. And we're probably going to move some of our reserves. You might notice we've only got £5,000 in our general fund, which is what we use to pay all our sort of bills day to day. We've only got £5,000 there, and we have to move some of our reserves into that fund for the 2025. On the report as well, it talks about our expenditure for our building plans. That was about 50,000, and most of that was met by a grant we had for 30,000, and we also had some interest on the money we hold down in Synod that we got from stewardship grant last year, so that sort of helped to balance off the 50,000 we spent. Hopefully you've all had a chance to read. I'm conscious of the time, so are there any questions on the reports, on the 2024 report? And if not, I'd like somebody to propose signing it off, because it has to be signed off at our meeting.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Cheryl.
Show of hands.
Yep, those in favour.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So as well as 2024, I also produced a short report on what it looks like in 2025 for the last 2 months up to February. And again, we've as it happens, our income and expenditure really sort of match each other. Around 19,000 we've spent up to the end of February. So I think the key things to be aware of is that our premises costs are going up. Maintenance is more expensive. Our utilities cost, insurance is going up. And it's really a challenge for us as a church to actually meet those costs. So, we need to be aware that we need to keep our income to match that as much as we can. Our building work is progressing, as I'm sure Philip will tell us about later. And we are still progressing grants. I've been looking at grants recently, and this is just a bit of an update, really. A lot of grant funders are actually closing their funds, or they're saying we're only going to give 5,000 to 10,000, or they're not very happy with large projects. So it's really becoming a more difficult world to actually find grants to help us with our building. I think that's all I have to say on that, unless anybody's got any questions on the 2025 reports. Is that okay?
Yes.
Happy to accept those? Okay, thank you. And as a sort of an end to this point, I'd like Sarah to introduce herself. As of January, Sarah became our treasurer and is doing a grand job, and we're very thankful to Sarah for taking on this role.
Just hello, really. I'm sure you all know me. I'm Sarah, or Lucy's mum. So yeah, I've taken over from Helen from January, so I'm slowly taking on all the activities that are involved with the treasurer. So Helen's been absolutely amazing in supporting me with picking everything up, spending lots of time with me. So hopefully I can do the job half as well as she's been doing it.
Thank you very much. And we've done. Well, he neatly sat down by passing the buck to Sarah there, and I'd like you to stand up again, please. Sorry about the slightly tacky envelope. That's nothing to do with me. I wasn't going to blame Joyce, but there you go. You heard the story. I'm just going to say it wasn't me. 1 or 2 weeks, I believe, in helping us with all the finances over the time. So there's a gift for you there, and it's there's a card saying thank you. There's also a gift in there which we haven't put towards anything particular. There's a slip there with somebody saying what we think you might like to do with it, but it's entirely up to you whether you want to take that up or not. We haven't actually given it to you saying you must do this. It's entirely up to you to do what you want. Yearbook group reports. You've had the yearbook. Is there any comment anyone wants to make? I've gone off, Matt. I'm off, apparently. Thank you, Colin. I don't think it's me. Right. Oh, yeah, I am off. I am off. It must be the battery now. There we go. Right, let's see if that... hello. There we go. Thank you, Colin. Yep. Do you want to speak into the microphone, George? Because that would be better. Could we have the other hand held on, because George is now going to speak, please?
Right. Oh, sorry. Just to say that there were 2 pieces missing from the printed yearbook. Those of you on email will have received them both by email during the week. Alison sent them out. But there are copies of those 2 missing sheets. We weren't going to reprint all the yearbooks. But if you've had a yearbook and it's got 2, one is Martin's because that was our mistake. I'll take the blame with you. Yeah, but anyway, one is Martin's letter, because when I opened the yearbook, I couldn't understand why I was first one up. But obviously Martin's one got missed, and the other one was Cheryl's because it was late coming in and it missed the printing. So they're there for you now, so help yourselves. They're on the back table by the window. Help yourselves on the way out. What, to your yearbook?
Yeah. Is that an amendment you're going to make verbally now, or you're going to write? Okay.
An amendment to the yearbook. Yeah. So, where are we going? Right. So, I put, after much discussion amongst the churches, it was decided that the most viable model would be that of team ministry. In fact, what I should have said is that the churches are continuing to discuss the potential of team ministry. Okay? Because otherwise what I've said might imply that we've actually had a vote. Continuing to discuss the potential of team ministry. Right. Okay? So I apologise for that.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You just have to be aware of that. Be aware of that when you read it, that it's potential and not... Yeah. Well, that just means we've got to send it all out again. So. Yeah, but it doesn't all go in the string. We've had to print some.
Let's not worry about that. Yeah. I don't want to much anything to do with that. Any other comments on yearbook reports or? No. Okay. Before we move on to the next bit, just to say, elders elections that our 3 candidates have all been elected successfully. They've all got well more than 75% of the vote, so it's a nice successful election for each of them. So thank you. I'm looking around for
well done, everybody. Thank you.
Sorry. I only spoke to you a moment ago. I've lost where you were. So the 3 of you for being willing to stand, and I look forward to you joining the team, and we'll arrange for dates for when we can do ordinations for those who will need elders ordination and induction and otherwise. So.
Can I just be pedantic? Tracy, is it E-Y? No. Just Tracy. Yeah. Got to get it right.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you.
And Helen.
Helen. Oh, Helen. Sorry. I know, I've just filled the form in too. Yeah, right. Thank you, Helen.
Any following on from what you just said, Cheryl, any other update on the land?
Yeah.
Sorry, the microphone back your way again.
So the NAG is still continuing to discuss team ministry, what that might mean for the individual churches, what that might mean for the whole of the group. We have another meeting this coming Thursday, at which the moderator will be attending. But I've got, yet again, I've got another piece to read out on behalf of the LAG. So, the steering group continues to explore, discuss and prayerfully consider a possible way forward into team ministry. The group feels that one way forward could be for the LAG to be able to call an additional stipendiary minister to join Reverend Martin Needs, currently serving the Mid-Hearts group of Harpenden, Welwyn Garden City and Wheat Hampstead, and to identify and or recruit team members to work with the ministers. Areas of expertise or focus we may look for could be pastoral care, worship leadership, children and families, stroke youth and young families, community engagement and mission enabling. These roles would be undertaken across the 7 sites of the Heartland churches and would be in addition to those currently undertaken by staff employed in individual churches. We recognise that and we will need to be guided by both synod and elders and church meetings, but are cautiously confident that this approach could and would work in Heartland. We shall share our current thinking with the moderator and seek to keep church meetings and congregations informed of progress.
What's the moderator's name? Sorry. George what?
What? No, it's...
No, George what?
Any questions?
Just a simple question.
Yes. No.
It seemed to me way back that it was a simple arrangement for 2 ministers across 7 churches. 5 churches. What is holding up deciding that and going ahead?
Good question. Yeah, that's probably 5 different inputs, as Tina says. We haven't yet, as Philip also just said, a vacancy has to be declared. So we haven't yet got to the point of a vacancy being declared.
But that was proposed the first time we heard anything about that.
There hasn't been agreement yet as to what form the team will take. There is no, it's really difficult to, there's no substance, for want of a better phraseology, to the structure beyond what Cheryl has read out. That pretty much is it. I think it's very difficult to declare a vacancy and say to a prospective minister, this is the team to come to. What is there to invite someone to come to in that? There's no I can't even think of the right word, to grasp.
Well, one, the vacancy to be declared has to be agreed by the synod first of all. So when the church have said yes, declare a vacancy, but we had to get synod approval.
No, the proposal supposedly allegedly didn't come from synod. I mean, it's very confusing as quite where it came from. I'm not sure exactly where it originated.
And we need to have some, as Martin says, we need to have some sort of structure for going forward as to how anybody coming in, if we go down the route of team ministry, any roles that are created within that team ministry, we have to have some idea of what their parameters are going to be and how it's going to feed into all the churches. It's not just about we're all right, Jack, in mid-hearts. You know, we are part of the lag, so we have to have a say. As he says, all the other churches have to have a say in what, in an ideal world, they would like, and how we are going to support one another, not just within our 3 churches, but to the other 2 churches as well.
I mean, I heard your question, Helen, timescale. That's a difficult question. Yeah. I think if we follow on the path that Cheryl just outlined from that statement that came from the last steering group meeting, the theory is and the hope is to get a vacancy declared sort of end of April time, I think, in that by that time we would get all 5 churches to produce their elements of the profile and what's the other thing called? Church Life Review, thank you. Which can be put together to make the one big profile to cover the whole team, and therefore can look to being declared a vacancy from then on. I think we're at a position. From the last steering group, I felt that we were at a position where that was a possibility. Up to that point, I didn't think it was looking realistic. I think from that steering group, it was possibly a way forward that we could get to the point of declaring a vacancy with all the churches saying this is what the input we want from our church and our part of the whole big patch, and what we want from the 2 ministers, and this is what we're looking for from the second minister, and that was a possibility that we could then go out looking for the second minister, and then once we got the second minister, we could then look at what other members do we want to make up the rest of the team, whether they be lay workers or employed people or whatever to make up the rest of the team, and we don't know yet who they would be, and we need to work out how we're going to find the finance for that, etc., etc. There's a whole lot of other questions added on to that, and we don't know exactly all the answers to, but they come following on from getting another minister in place, I think, is where we are at the moment. And I think that is a possibility. All right? Yes. And that's why the moderator is coming along to the meeting on Thursday to hear where we are and to hopefully be in agreement that, yes, we are at a point where we could look at declaring a vacancy so that he can go along to the synod pastoral meeting where vacancies are declared. That's the official place where it happens, so that he can go along in as an advocate for us effectively and say, yeah, this is, you know, if the moderator goes to that meeting saying yes, this should go ahead, I think pretty much it's unlikely that pastoral meeting would say, oh, we're not sure. You know, I think if the moderator turned up there and says, I think this pastorate should be declared as a vacancy, then pretty much it happens. I mean, I've never been on a pastoral committee, I don't know, but I would strongly think that if that happens, if the moderator goes along to that meeting and says, I think this place should be declared vacant, that they'll go, okay.
On the same lines, would it not be helpful for us in this meeting to say that we, as a Welwyn Garden City Free Church, are happy on the lines as outlined today? As a start, you don't want to have a meeting and then start going round all the churches to ask them all individually to say, we like that idea. We'll never get the end of April. I think I'm being simple.
No, I don't think you are. I think it's chicken and egg, really, isn't it? I think possibly. You've got to start somewhere, and this is where we've chosen to start. You know, you could have started the other way around. You know, which is the right way to do it?
In that case, could we not say here and now what we know? We think it's good.
Yeah, but do we? I have no objection to the church meeting saying what they feel at all. You know, that's entirely within the purview of a church meeting to say. If we think this is a great thing or a horrible thing or whatever, that's, you know, I'm up for you doing that.
They're asking us to agree on what's being put forward. Mm-hmm. It might change after your meeting.
It might change after the meeting on Thursday, indeed.
So you're asking us to agree on something that might not be the end. Probably asking the individual about it because it is the way to do it.
I was merely suggesting that maybe if there is anything that we can do to be helpful at this meeting, it would be a good idea. Let's do it. Make progress. The long part of the procedure, surely, is advertising and waiting for a response.
I take your point of view, but I hear what also Cheryl and Joyce are saying. I mean, if we say, yes, this is really great, but actually on Thursday they say, we're not so sure about this now, this is actually where we want to go, has our 45 minutes discussing that been of use? I mean, it may have been, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying we shouldn't discuss it and vote on it, but
I mean, the person that's suffering in all of this is Martin, because he's the one, after we lose Tina and May, that is going to be looking after all. So I can understand why you're suggesting this, but I don't think it's a good suggestion.
I thought it would be nice for Martin to know that there's somebody who might stand beside him.
I just want to say, can't you guys get a move on and have meetings more than once every 6 months, please?
we're having them monthly at the moment rather than every 2 months. But we
Haven't meeting every month a long time to get this sorted on the road, and I agree with Graham, getting this on the road is good.
I mean, we've been having monthly meetings now since October, if not before. I'm not sure. We're normally every 2 months. We are having more regular meetings than we should have. So I mean, I'm obviously delighted to be having more meetings in my diary. But it has helped us to get to this place at least. It is a slow thing, but in and of itself, being a slow thing is not a bad thing, because as long as if we get it right, that's the important thing. That's always been my view, that we get things right. I've never wanted us to rush into doing something that we end up being wrong. Personally, we've got to get what we end up doing. It's got to be the right thing, as far as I'm concerned. Not to rush headlong into doing something just because it seems like a good idea or it's the easy thing to make sure we do something correctly. And if that takes time, it may be painful to take time, but actually it may be the right thing to do to take time over it.
But Martin, we can always have a one-item meeting after
Thursday
if there is anything new to.
Yes, well, as we've already discussed on the agenda, we had previously a one-item meeting.
Extraordinary meeting.
I think that would be a good idea. Because people it's quite important. The future of our church is probably the most important item on this agenda. Because,
yes,
we need to be really clear what our future is and what we are as a church. And I think the sooner we get that sort of on the road, the better, really. I'm just stating the obvious, sorry.
Well, sometimes stating the obvious is an important thing to do. So.
Yeah, but also I think we need to bring it back to the congregation quicker, so that you know where we are, because we've had a long gap with nothing. So if anything let's get an extraordinary meeting booked in and bring to you what you've discussed. Is that not sensible?
But we have to really on something.
It just seems a long time for the congregation, Cheryl. Yes, but we've also had illness in was it George that was ill?
George has been ill, yeah.
Yeah, so and he was on sabbatical, so
and we've had Christmas.
Yeah, there's been lots of things that have caused the hold up. But
it's not just that. I mean, there was part of the process. Was that at one point the ministry team were tasked to discuss something and bring that back to steering group, who were then tasked with discussing it, and then it's from that it then comes back to where we are with this statement that Cheryl brought to us. So that process of the ministry team getting together and throwing something backwards and forwards, and then taking it to the steering group for them to throw it backwards and forwards to bring it finally to churches like this, that isn't a 5-minute job. That takes a period of time. So that feels from here, because it's however long since we last heard from it all, that feels like a long time, but that doesn't mean that other things haven't been going on in the meantime. But in that meantime, there isn't anything else to report, because those things are...
So shall I minute that after Thursday, possibly if there's a minute to, with information that's worth us knowing, we could have a one-item meeting after the service if needed after Thursday?
Yes. Something along those lines sounds perfectly fine, yes. I would hope, and if we haven't, then forgive us and take it to task. But I would hope that at every stage along the way, if there has been something we needed to bring back, either to report or to ask you to consider, we have done so at the time we have been asked to do so. And that's what we will continue to do. Are there any other questions or comments? I know it's an uncomfortable and not an easy journey. As Joyce pointed out, I feel that as much as anyone else. I wouldn't want to start from here if I was trying to get to where we're trying to go. But we are. Item 9 on the agenda, church profile document.
Health and safety I've got down here.
That's item 10 on my agenda.
Is there anything separate, the joint passport? Is there anything that we need to think about?
Sorry, was that?
That's part number 8.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Any updates on the Heartland Lag and on our joint passport? Anything to report from the joint passport? I guess the only one thing I can think of from joint elders, which people may or may not be aware of, was the fact that the church magazine is going to go to quarterly rather than bi-monthly, and that will be happening after May, I think. Is that right? So we've got a magazine at the end of March, we will have a magazine at the end of May, and then we will go quarterly after that. So it'll be end of May, end of August, end of November, end of February. It came from the joint elders meeting, so where we have elders from each of the 3 churches in the pastorate, and it was because I can't remember if it started from this church or the other churches, but there was a feeling that the magazine is very well in Garden City. That is exactly because the other church. That's because the other churches don't put stuff in, and they appreciate that. And so it was felt, and we've tried to get more stuff coming in, so it was felt that maybe going to quarterly might assist with some of that rather than doing it 2 monthly. If I remember rightly from that.
It didn't come from Welwyn Garden City.
It didn't come from, I didn't think it did, but I couldn't remember, thank you, Philip. It didn't come from Welwyn Garden City, it came from the other churches. And it was discussed in the joint elders, and we felt that the main thing we would ask about that was whether Alison was happy with that, and whether it would put more or less burden on Alison in doing it that way. Alison.
Because I won't be producing a monthly newsletter, more involved than we've done before, so it's about the same work for me.
So in terms of the magazine, it will stay much the same but be less frequent, but there will be a monthly news sheet produced here for just Welwyn Garden City, which will have dates and things on it and so on and so forth, which actually may be slightly better because it's sometimes difficult to get dates in for the 2 monthly magazine, which then aren't quite right for people to keep up with. Thank you, Sandra.
Could we the next
You just turn it, push it up. You're on now. You're on.
Yeah. The next, I've had a chat with Alison about the monthly news sheet, and because of the things that we've had to omit from the bi-monthly magazine, we might be able to get some of them back in again when it's in the monthly news sheet, and we thought it will probably become like more than one page. So if the elders are willing to deliver to people like you're talking about, they would get news of our church on a monthly basis.
That's newsletter stuff. So I don't think if you're getting the news like they do in the magazine, the newsletter is going to have dates and reminders. So it's not really used for some friend who doesn't come to church.
Well, you're saying that they like to read the yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see what we can get in the 4 sheet, shall we?
If it's not going to my imagination, it's like I'm not on the article side. It'll be dates. I mean, if somebody's got something that they, there might be an advert for something, but it's not going to be an article. So that's me then doing monthly.
So the last magazine, March and April, is now out.
Yeah, we will have, the next one we will have is the April edition, April, May.
Oh, right, was it covered? Yeah, I think, April. Right, okay.
We'll go May and then we'll
Yeah, I've got it, yeah.
I mean, maybe we do this as a trial and see how it.
Yes, I mean, it's right. It's not second concrete. If we want to bring it back to 2 monthly or whatever, we can do. Yeah, quite.
But that's occasionally other people step up and write, because some of the problem we have is the same people writing for the magazine.
Yes.
And I feel really mean nagging those people to write from it. So it would be nice if somebody else did it.
I've not noticed you feel mean nagging me to write something like that.
You have to write it. Everybody else is doing it. It's the same people writing.
Thank you. We shall bear in mind what you said though, Sandra, and we shall let the rest of the joint elders know that when we. But if you can help me or remember to whoever comes along to joint elders, as it changes between the elders. I don't think there was anything else from joint elders and from the pastorate that needs to be reported back. I don't think anything. Wasn't an awful lot of stuff discussed at the last meeting, was there? Beyond that, I don't think. Church profile documents then, and church life review. Anything to say on that? It's in process of being produced and. Okay, are you able to do that? I'm not.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah? Right, so the church profile or the church life review is a snapshot, an overview of all that we do at this church. So all the, not just services, but all the activities and all the outreach that we do and all we would like to do. Yes, but I'm saying some of the congregation may not understand.
When you were looking to come here, did you find the profile adequate?
Yes, I think so.
So why change?
It has to change because we change. The wording, it refers to things that have happened in the past. It refers to how we as a church were when we had a youth worker, a mission developer, enabler, whatever you want to call what this role was. Yes, sorry. Yeah, so we have to continually update. It's a living document in a way, so that you're continually looking at it and reviewing it and making maybe minor changes, maybe no changes at the time you look at.
So things have moved on a little since I came nearly 2 years ago, you know.
We have midweek communion now. We didn't have that before.
I appreciate the content, but I think it's changed to change
Exactly, and because we're looking towards the idea of a team of 5 churches with 2 ministers, and we only have 1 minister at the moment, and we need to look towards calling a second minister, our profile needs to be up to date in order to introduce our church as one of those 5 to the new prospective minister. Oh, I see. I don't know why they. I don't know why the URC as a whole has called it Church Life Review. I mean, there is a big thing within the URC being called Church Life Review, and everything is now being sort of tagged with that phrase. I can't answer specifically why it's being called that, and not a church profile.
So just to clarify, the elders have been looking at this and are making some changes to the one that was produced for the vacancy that Martin applied for.
But also, take the time to say thank you to Philip, because he's done the first draft of the Church Life Review, and we've only got it. We've received 30 figures to the additions or amendments. If anyone wants to say it, they can input to you.
Yes, thank you, Philip, for what you've done.
I've recorded that, so.
Good, Philip, thanks. Yeah, indeed. Health and safety. Anyone? I'm not sure. Any health and safety, Sean? No? Okay. Safeguarding policy update and issues, anything we've dealt with? Good, thank you. Training needs doing. Okay. Those who need to do training, they know they need to do training? Those who do need to do training, you know it, please do it. Building and property items. So microphone, sorry, Helen's getting on. Thank you, Philip.
Yeah, thanks. I'll try and be brief. On our redevelopment, we were asked to produce a statement for Synod so that they are aware of our scheme. And one of the things which Helen will know is that when you apply for grants, one of the first questions is, does the governing body approve what you're asking for? And at the moment, we don't have anything from Synod. They're fully aware of the scheme. The property enabler has been with us right from the start. But officially, we don't have anything on paper that says how that has gone in, and we'll go to the next, what's called Resources Committee. And we'll have to see what comes out of that. The other thing to mention is that things have moved along. You may have noticed that we have various roof leaks in here, and there are these, I'm not quite sure what you call them. But it's where on the other side of the woodwork there are rainwater hopper heads, but there are also valley gutters where the different roof slopes join. And the one here, you can probably see that quite well. It's beginning to damage the fabric of the building. So it's taken a long, long while, but we've got the Synod quinquennial surveyor has been appointed to report, and that's actually happened because it raises more questions than it answers. And I've gone back to him and had a sort of partial reply, and I've chased up again for a better reply. His first thing was, well, it'll be better to re-roof the whole building. But it's like saying, well, I've got a puncture on my car, and then someone said, well, if you buy tyres, well, that's not really the answer. So I've gone back to say that we would like to do one of them, which is here, and do the recommended work and make sure there are no problems in doing that, rather than stripping all the roof slopes off. But I don't have all the answers, but I can, I suppose, send around a report when we're a bit clearer on what we're going to do. So, sorry about that. It started off probably last summer, and it's taken so far to get to here. The other thing to mention is I put something in the magazine about a defibrillator, and I hope to get some response and we made a grant application to the British Heart Foundation, and they operate a sort of lottery system. So you make an application, and they choose 10 each month, and we weren't successful, not because we didn't meet the criteria or anything, but it's just, I suppose, they get so many applications, they choose 10, and it seems like that's the end of it. They do offer you a discount on buying your own.
So they don't keep our thing on file and put you in the lottery again then?
No. Well, no, presumably not. But in actual fact, I had to do a first aid training course, and that included using a defibrillator, and I can't tell you how marvellous they are. They're completely foolproof. But there is a downside to it, because there was someone there that came from a village hall that had one. And it seems like if they're public and they are used, the person who owns the defibrillator, which in our case would be us, is responsible for replacing the pads. You can't reuse the pads that are applied to someone's chest. And also the batteries don't seem to last very long either.
I read about a battery that gave up halfway through the whole process.
Oh, right. Well, you imagine the power to shock someone's heart back into rhythm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there are those two downsides in having a public one, which is probably why Sainsbury's don't have one and the Doctor's Tonic don't have one. There's one at St France. There's one that's Super Snaps, or Snappy Snaps, or whatever it is. But I think they are too far. In an emergency in the street here, I don't think you've got the minutes to get there, get the machine and bring it back and whatever. I think we would be well placed here. We could be very selfish, portable one inside the building, which would be cheaper. It would then mean if it was used by someone inside here, then obviously we would want to replace the pads and keep the batteries up to date and so on. So we did ask for donations, but that was a very small amount collected, just a fraction of what we would need. About £2,000.
What, for the one outside or
for an outside one? No. I haven't actually looked at how much a one inside would be. But it wouldn't need all the connection outside and continually lit and so on, so I can look into that.
In a way, it could be more useful to have one inside, because if you think all these people that hire the building, Zumba, somebody could have a heart attack then, or, maybe more electricity.
Yes, but it would only be 2 seconds to go and get it from outside.
The outside one would be more secure, wouldn't it?
Yes, I mean you.
Yeah. Take 10 minutes trying to find the key.
Well, no one thought good enough idea to put any money in an envelope, but that's beside the point.
We haven't really advertised for it. Yes, I know it's in the magazine, but we've got groups in here. We need to circulate a letter with what we're trying to raise, how much it's going to cost, and see if any of the groups that meet here would donate.
No.
And Matthew suggested that his next quiz in April is, sorry, I've got our mum getting dead. Go on.
Up. Push it up.
Sorry, because if I can't hear, that's no good. Could you do next year?
No, it is now.
Hello.
Push the switch up.
Yeah, okay. The next quiz in April that we dedicate the money we raise at that quiz night towards a defibrillator. So that was a good suggestion, and the elders agreed with it. We need to circulate to all the groups who come and ask them, ask them for donations.
Well, they might argue that by paying us rent, we should have provide
Can
the
I also
facilities.
just say as well, because the community are really up for DFIBs, you might want to do a GoFundMe and put it on social media, Facebook pages, because people, because you're doing it via a GoFundMe, which is a legitimate site, you can raise money that way as well. Yeah, and it's a community thing, so it's an idea for you guys.
So who's going to circulate all the groups? We got a decision on who could circulate all the groups that use the building? I do that.
I think you need to have the
Thank you, Helen.
on the page.
That could be the piece from the magazine, sort of blown up to an A4 sheet.
Helen will email all the groups, and I come and see you at the building.
And she'll see it, come and see them as well.
Capability of a defibrillator outside.
And she'll visit them as well, yes.
And can she invite them to the quiz?
Yes, why not?
Not at the moment.
Not that I'm aware of at the moment. Okay. Okay, very good. Right. DFIB dealt with. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I think that's it.
All right, thank you very much, as ever, for all the building stuff. Future events, any dates that need to be added to dates that are already published elsewhere?
I've put a sheet up. No, I haven't put a sheet up for that. I've given it to Alison. Let me check myself. I will send out by email a page of all the dates that were decided at our planning meeting in January up until the end of June. I don't think you wanted to go right round till December. So I will send that on the email. Alison, if she could print a few copies of it to have at the back next Sunday for anyone that doesn't get email that would like to pick up and have a hard copy. So I don't think I need to go into all the dates.
No. So the dates that are available till the end of the year, what's against that?
Well, I can change it and add. I've got all the dates.
Yeah, because you might think, well, I'd like to be here for Candles by Camp.
All right, okay. I just thought you might, when I got to a page and a bit, I thought you might get fed up reading all the dates, but I can do that. Yeah. I'll do it to the end of the year then. So hold fire on that till I get you the new one.
Okay, good, right, thank you. Where are we? News of pastoral friends and reallocation of pastoral lists. Joyce, that's probably you again.
Right. News of pastoral friends. Do we know if Linda Perry's mum has moved yet?
I haven't heard.
We're waiting. She will be moving. I've got two. We don't know. We're waiting. Like a pop singer. So that's one person. Yes, but we're waiting to hear. We know that Margaret's Brian, is now in Anson Court, and to be staying there, Brian, isn't he, Margaret?
Welcome visitors, but I would welcome it if people could just pop in for half an hour from time to time. You can go any time of day, doesn't matter whether it's meal time or not. Because if you're there at meal time, you can encourage him to eat.
Right. So he's in Anson Court. I haven't heard from Conrad Bash for a little while. I need to get in touch with him. He's busy with his own family, I think. And yeah. We've got Margaret, thankfully, in church with us. Margaret Taylor in church with us today. It's good to see you back, Margaret. How are you getting on? Fine. Good. Margaret Christie, yeah. She's had a shoulder replacement. So she's been out of commission for quite a while, and it's been quite painful, and she's been having lots of people visiting. So it's been whittling down. She doesn't know when people are coming. Have I missed anyone? Scott. Scott is home. Yes.
Oh, well, that must have happened very quickly.
Yes. On Friday, she was told he was doing so well he could come home for the weekend, but he's got to be back in on Monday morning for a procedure. So please keep Scott in your prayers on Monday morning. He has to be back there very early on Monday morning. Norma and Ted are struggling.
Norma did say she was hoping to come back.
Yeah.
Thought probably Easter. I think she would like to come back at Easter.
Yeah. But they're both really struggling. Yeah. Is there anyone I have missed that needs to be mentioned? No? Oh, yes. How did you get on, Joyce?
No, they're still on about this one tablet, and whenever the doctor decides he can have it.
So you just got to wait.
And all this time, we're waiting to see if his valve will take a stent, but all about this one tablet.
Did you hear that? Because Joyce speaks very quietly. She's saying that the doctor phoned on Thursday, and it's all about taking this one tablet, which they're not very happy for him to take, and they don't know of his capability to take a stent. So that's what she's waiting for, and Melvin's waiting for. So that's not exactly.
Olive Jones's husband, David, is also in Anson Court. So, if anybody's popping in, they may see him as well. I don't know, but anyway. She's visiting. Yeah, she's not visiting every day now. It's every, 2 or 3 days. But he's struggling a bit, and he needs feeding, and, it's sad, really, when you think what he used to be like. But, anyway. Are we on
We're on the second part of that, unfortunately, which is pastoral lists. Now that we've had our elections, I can sit down and look at the pastoral lists. I haven't really been able to do anything because when we lost what we did last year on its head, so I've got to sit down with the new elders and reallocate pastoralists, so I can get on with that now. I'd appreciate a bit of help if there's anyone wants to team with me, but we'll see. Maybe one of the new elders.
No, I haven't seen them. They were in the car park. Yeah, they were both in the car park when I arrived this morning.
Well, they haven't come here.
I haven't been in church for a while, though, have they?
No, I saw them. They were sort of getting something out of the boots. I thought it's nice to see them back, and it didn't occur to me that they weren't here, but there were an awful lot of people. Oh, they're both on their feet.
I have sent them things like magazines and things, but I haven't actually seen them for a while.
I saw them this morning, and they just walked towards Sainsbury's.
Right, can we look? Sorry.
Yeah, no, just about to.
Mission developer and seeing children and young families. You know things about those. Any update?
Well, just mention what we do.
Yes, sorry, there is a response. So yes, we have gone out to recruit for this role. We have had one set of interviews so far, and the candidates were unsuccessful, and we're now going for the second round, and we are interviewing a week Friday.
For which role?
The mission developer role. And then once that's recruited to, then we'll look at the next role. Is it this coming Friday? The days roll round so quickly, don't they? So it's this Friday, apologies. Yes, the agreement has been pre-agreed for the grant, which is a 3-year fixed term, 18. I'm looking at Helen now. 2 years. 2 years. Yeah, for possibly from appointment. Yeah.
Left over from what Liz.
So it's just what's left in the pot. Yes. Yeah. And the children and young families worker role.
I don't think we've got anything new on that at the moment. No. It's worker role on the
worker role.
Yeah. Time for Martin and Tina. I have nothing extra to add at the moment, other than just to let you know from the 20th of March to that's the Thursday until the Sunday, I will be in Cambridge at assessment conference assessing candidates for the ministry. Well, no, these are people who are going. These are people who will be starting to go to college if they pass their assessment. So they're not at the point of coming here and so 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. So these are people who have gone through quite a long period of time of candidating to get to the point where they are at assessment conference. So they will have gone through a whole period of filling in lots of different forms. They have a whole pack of forms that we read through. They will have been in an interview they will have preached and taken a service or something like that and had that assessed. And they may have done other things as well, depending on what their previous experience and so on is. And then their final hurdle is to come to assessment conference, where they do some group work and they have 2 sets of interviews to be assessed.
How many candidates?
This time there are 13 candidates, and it's all URC ministry in one sort or another, and there are 3 panels. I serve on one of the panels. There'll be 3 panels meeting to interview those candidates over the weekend. Thursday the 20th until whatever the Sunday is, 23rd.
Which goes into nicely my update that I'm preaching with a view for the next Sunday, which is the 16th and the 23rd. So please, if you could just hold me in your thoughts on those 2 Sundays, I'd really appreciate it. So thank you. Preaching with a view up in Norfolk. Norfolk, yep, 4 churches in Norfolk. So I'll give you an update once I find out. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I looked a lot younger when I started training. That's not a lie. And a lot thinner, because the food at college is amazing.
Any other business from anyone? No, Derek. Reformed Church doesn't believe in date and time of the next church meeting. Do we have a date? They're all fixed, so I don't have it in front of me. That's why I was asking. So it's all in your diaries. I can't remember. We'll know when it is. Thank you. 8th of June is the next church meeting. There you go. It'll all be in Joyce's dates when she puts them out. There you go. So when you get Joyce's dates, they'll all be there.
I'd have gone by then. Quite sad.
Is this your last church meeting?
Yeah,
last church meeting with us. There you go.
If I'd known, I would have been on the microphone.
Shall we close? Thank you, everyone, for your attention and your input. Sorry it's been a long, drawn-out affair, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Shall we close by blessing one another with the words of the grace? May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all evermore. Amen.
Helen.